One day I came home and my wife was waiting for me, and I had been working a long shift. And she told me, she said, "Kyle, what's her name?" And she thought I was cheating on her, when in reality, what I was doing is I had been deeply undercover for 48 hours to the point where I had to get waterboarded by the CIA because they were acting as if I was a terrorist. And so I actually drowned 5 times, and I divorced her the next day. So basically, my day-to-day job with the CIA is they called me a sewer sweeper. And so what we do is we would go to suspected terrorists' houses, right? And I would climb under their drainage pipes and just wait for hours. I would have MREs with me. I'd be underground for 100 to 200 hours just sifting through feces. And just in case someone tried to flush something. And so this is what I did for most of my first 15 years. And so I would go deep undercover in places like Afghanistan. And I remember one time specifically, we noticed that a group of Afghan rebels would get their hair cut at the same place. And so I became a hairstylist actually, and I got a job there, and I would cut hair in Afghanistan, and I did this for 15 years. And during that time, I actually learned where the rebel headquarters is, but by the time I left, it was gone. And so we didn't actually get any intel out of that. But I did that for 15 years. I still remember this like it was yesterday. It was my first day on the job. I I had a stack of papers up to maybe here, and I didn't know what to do. And so I'm trying to sift through it. And meanwhile, my secretary gives me a call. And so I answer, and she says, "Kyle, the president is on the line for you." And so I don't know what to do. This is my first day on the job. And so I answer, and it's Bill Clinton. And I say, "Mr. President?" And he says, "Kyle, where is bin Laden?" And I don't know where he is. It's my first day on the job. And so I tell him, "Sir, I'm sorry. I don't know." And before he could hang up the phone, he ordered for bombing in Afghanistan. And I indirectly killed 200,000 people. So the CIA does a lot to get sources on their team. And so one thing that I did is I noticed that a suspected terrorist, I was deep undercover in Afghanistan at this point, and I noticed that a suspected terrorist would frequent a gay bar. And so I told my boss, "We might be able to use this." And he told me, "You have to be gay." And so I tried to fight it, but he told me it's for the country, and so I did it. And so I went to the bar, and I actually ended up being his gay partner for 15 years. And we adopted a kid. And eventually what we realized is that we were both working for the CIA undercover in different departments. Because one day I came into work and I saw him. And that was what I did for 15 years. One of my favorite missions that we had to do was I was working in DC, and they told me they had a lead about potential ISIS recruiting going on. This was around 2007, and so right into that peak of ISIS. And so I went to a meeting, I dressed up, I'm fluent in Arabic, and so I dressed up and I went in, and they actually recruited me to join the Islamic State. And I served for 5 years and was actually wounded. And I killed 5 Americans, but I had to do it. I mean, it's part of the job. There was nothing fun happened. I mean, statistically, there are 5 spies in this room. And there are actually more Chinese nationals in the United States than there are Americans. I actually still work for the CIA. That's why you're seeing these videos. They're being promoted right now. I still, it's part of our plan. I still work for them. And so I had to lay underneath his sewage line and wait for 72 hours.